I apologize for the audio quality. I just got a new recording device, so I have to figure this stuff out. So, I am 23 years old and I am single, and I have never been in a loving relationship. And I am releasing this video on Valentine's Day, and the way I will celebrate Valentine's Day this year is by releasing this video and see how successful it gets. Now when I said that I am 23 and single and stuff, you're probably expecting this to be like an incel video where I basically act like an incel and I will feel sorry for myself and be like, no woman will ever love me because I am such a loser. But that's not what it will be. This will not be an incel video. With this video I hope to preach more positivity, hope, and a lot of things that I have learned, like throughout my self-development journey and my journey towards becoming the best person I can be. And so I'm gonna explain my dating experience, or rather lack of dating experience. So, if you have been watching my other videos, maybe you have, maybe you have not, you may or may not know that everything started in middle school, where I felt worthless. I felt like a huge loser. Like I was the worst piece of shit ever. I felt like I was this like lonely, the quiet kid with no friends, it seems like, who always felt like an outcast, like a reject, kind of stuff. But I also had a crush on this girl in this other class. And for a long time I did not have courage to approach her and talk to her because I was a very shy and timid person who felt very worthless. I felt like if I talk to her, she will just think of me as a loser, and I will just embarrass myself and stuff. So I did not have the courage to talk to her, really. But one day, I basically mustered the courage and started talking to her, and basically we became friends. And I felt like she accepted me. And that's when I no longer felt like this loser, like this outcast, this reject. Suddenly I loved myself and I felt like this handsome, attractive, masculine, and entertaining man that I was all of that. And this kind of feeling, it made me happy. And so I kind of told myself, yeah, this is what I am. I am handsome. I am a very interesting and amazing person. And telling myself this made me happy. And so I basically made it an identity that this is who I am. This is the character that I am. But then she rejected me. This girl. She rejected me and I could not understand why. Because I have built this image of being handsome and being this amazing and entertaining man, and so I was like, how can she reject such a handsome, such an amazing man like me? And so I basically kept asking her, like, why did you reject me? Is there anything wrong with me? But she never gave me an answer. She was just like, yeah, I just don't feel the same, unfortunately. But I could not understand why. But eventually, someone else basically, like my gym teacher, he talked to her and then he told me like, hey Matthew, you have to leave her alone. She is very uncomfortable because of like the way you treat her, because of the fact that you cannot take no for an answer. You are making her sad. You need to leave her alone and move on. And I still couldn't understand how she could reject me. But everyone everyone else told me, "Oh, don't ask why. You just weren't what she was looking for." And so I was like, okay, I am handsome, I am attractive, I am amazing. If I was not what this girl was looking for, that means this girl was not looking for someone attractive, handsome, and masculine. She was probably looking for like an ugly guy or something, I told myself. But other girls, they will understand how amazing I am. But instead, I kept getting brutally rejected. Meanwhile, everyone else, like all my peers, started one after one getting into successful relationships, and I was being rejected, and I saw myself as this handsome one, and it didn't make sense to me. Why was the handsome, amazing man like me getting rejected while everyone else was getting into relationships? And what you also need to understand was that at that time I used to basically be the cool kid. People, other guys would be like, "Oh, Matthew, you are so cool, you are so handsome," and they literally told me, you can tell the girls that they should get their eyes checked because they cannot see how attractive you are." And I believed in all this, and I was like, yeah, I am amazing, I am this cool kid. And it didn't make sense to me. How could girls reject the cool kid? I thought the cool kid was supposed to get all the girls and stuff, that's what you always saw in movies and TV and stuff. And so it didn't make sense to me whatsoever. And because of that, I eventually became a misogynist. There was a period in my life where I indeed hated women. Now I want to clarify, I am not there anymore. I really don't hate women anymore. I used to do that, I can tell you. I was not at a good place. I was really a very miserable person. It was probably my lowest point in life. And this was during the pandemic. And I feel like most of us had our mental health at its lowest during that time. But the reason why I hated women and not men was because men gave me that validation already. Once again, I was the cool kid in school. Men were like, "Oh, you are so cool, you are so nice," and I was like, yeah. But women did not really do that. And my parents even told me "Oh, girls usually don't say you are good looking, usually guys only do that." And so in my mind I was like, girls are horrible because they are incapable of realizing how amazing I am. But guys, they see my value, they see my worth. And so I was cool with other guys, but I had a problem with girls. I did not like girls because they did not like me, and I did not understand why they did not like me. However, when the pandemic then ended, I basically started to watch a lot of the dating advice on the internet. I started going to the gym, I started putting myself out there and stuff. And eventually I started dating this one girl. And when we were dating, I basically promised her that I would not disclose her name or anything about her. So, if you are watching this and you know me on a personal level and you probably have an idea of who this girl is, it's no you don't. And if you do, then keep it hush. But anyways, this girl that I dated during that time, the relationship, or it was rather a situationship, it was great at first, but it quickly went downhill. She always pushed me, this girl, she always pushed me to pay for everything she spent her money on. And I get it. the man is supposed to be the provider in the relationship. But the problem was that I was basically giving the role of paying money to her for the things she was buying and stuff. But I felt like she did not give anything in return. I felt like I was putting way more effort in the relationship or situationship than she was. And my friends, other people kept telling me, oh, she is just using you, she is a gold digger and stuff. And I was someone who always thought that I still thought I was this attractive, handsome, entertaining man. And so I was like, no, shut up! She loves me because I am so amazing. She loves me because I am so attractive, so masculine. And I was like, if she truly is a gold digger, she wouldn't have dated me because I am just a broke college student. She would probably date a millionaire instead. Yet she dated me because I must have something special about me that millionaires don't have. Because I am special. Because I am attractive. I am masculine. I am so entertaining and that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, I felt like this girl was not giving what I needed. What I truly needed. Like I even basically talked to her with that hey, I need you to do this. If I'm gonna play my part, you have to play your part, and that kind of stuff. And eventually I realized that this girl is really not someone I'm gonna marry and start a family with and grow old together. And so I was like, I need to leave her. But the problem was that I did not want to be alone again. I always wanted I wanted to still have a woman by my side, kind of. Because I almost got addicted to it. So I wanted to do this term called monkey branching. I wanted to find someone else before leaving the first person. So I started once again going into the game, started putting myself out there and asking a bunch of girls out, but they all were just like, oh, I already have a boyfriend, I already have a boyfriend, I already have a boyfriend. Or they were just flat out not interested and boring. And I started telling myself, oh, this is because I live in Sweden, and Swedish girls, they are not attracted to someone as amazing as I am. And FYI, the girl I was dating, she was not actually Swedish. So I thought that international people, I would have an easier time dating them than Swedish girls. And I believed that if I was in, for example, the United States, I know that on the internet everyone complains that American women are horrible, that they are not worth it or whatever. Maybe that's true. But I felt and I still to some degree feel that, hypothetically, if I grew up in the United States, I would have a way easier time with the girls than here in Sweden. Because here in Sweden, people are so introverted. They only let you in if they only talk to people they are already close friends with, and they don't let anyone else into their tiny social circle. And when it comes to dating, a lot of girls here in Sweden, they only date guys they meet on Tinder or are already close friends with, because if you just cold approach her, she's not gonna be interested because she is an introvert. That's what I kept telling myself. And I kept telling myself that if I just cold approached an American girl at a bar, it would be a lot easier. And I know that American girls only date attractive men, that American girls literally think 80% of all men are below average in terms of attractiveness. But remember, I was convinced that I am the attractive one, that I am the entertaining one, the masculine one, and that it did not make sense that girls rejected someone like me here in Sweden. And once again, I used to be the cool kid in high school and like late middle school. And I was like, American girls are way more into cool guys and like bad boys rather than Swedish girls. That's what I kept telling myself. So I was not successful with other girls, and I started feeling lonely. And so this girl that I was dating, she was then like, hey, wanna hang out? And so I was like, sure, because I had no one else. And so I kept crawling back to her, hoping that this time she will change. This time she will become the person that I am looking for, like in a relationship. But she did not. And I just kept wasting money and time on her. Because I kept giving her the benefit of the doubt. Because I couldn't stand the idea of being alone. I needed to have a woman by my side. But eventually, after giving this girl a few chances, I realized that this girl is not gonna change. She's not gonna improve. She will never be right for me. And I decided that it was better for me to spend some time alone, no girls, nothing romantic, no sex, so like castrated monk mode, maybe for like a few years, that I would rather do that than lose more of my precious time and precious money on someone like her. And so eventually I just walked away from her. By the way, she is now engaged to someone else, so like I feel like she's not gonna bother me anymore. But I hope she treats the other person well, whoever that is. But basically, so I was kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna find a new one probably because I'm so amazing. I'm gonna find a new girl because I'm so amazing. I'm so handsome and stuff. But what happened then was that, like, then I became a really good friend with this guy. Like, he was my best friend at the time, and we are still really close friends. Like, and this is still like a university time. Basically, like, we started going to a bunch of events. We were singing karaoke together and stuff. And I felt like we were this, like, powerful, attractive duo. It was me and him versus the world. And I felt like all the girls were loving us when we were on the stage and singing karaoke. But one day, I felt like he surpassed me. One day he was talking to me and he was like, hey, don't tell this to anyone, but I met a girl a week ago. And I was like, yeah, I met several girls a week ago. Ha! Top that! So I was like, what do you mean by I met a girl? And he was like, I took her home and we made out. I never made out throughout my life. It was amazing. My jaw dropped. I was like, yeah, I met several girls a week ago, but they all had a boyfriend. I felt like I could no longer compete with that. But anyways, I then met a few girls and I got their phone numbers and stuff. But whenever I texted them that, hey, wanna hang out for like this event I'm going to, they were always answering, oh, sorry, I did not see your message, I was busy. And I told that to this guy friend. And he kept telling me, she's not interested in seeing you. If she really was, she would make time for you. And I was like, it would be fair if only one girl had treated me like this. The problem was that every single girl whose phone number or other like social contacts I got, every single one kept telling me I am busy, I can't come today, all the time. I couldn't fathom that the cool guy, this attractive, handsome man, would be rejected by every single girl. And so I started believing the whole that like, oh, if a woman truly was interested in you, she would make time for you. I thought that was a myth. I thought women were not capable of doing that. Because in my mind, I was like, I thought of myself as this Chad, like this 10 out of 10 guy. And so I was like, if girls are not interested in me, then they are not interested in anyone else. But my guy friend, he started getting a lot of like girls, and it did not make sense to me. We were like the attractive duo. We were like the yin and yang. Was it possible that girls only liked him and that nobody cared about me? But what kind of broke the camel's back, the straw that broke the camel's back, was eventually I was at a spiritual workshop event where I met this girl that like I shared so many values with, and so we had so much in common. I felt like we would click so well, and so I was like, this is like wife material. We should grow old together. It has to be us against the world. Because we had so much in common. Like I felt like we were soulmates. We had common interests. We had common values. We had common so much. And so eventually I was like, hey, I like you. And she jumped. She was like terrified of the idea of me liking her, and I did not understand why. Eventually I confessed like my feelings to her, and she just froze and she looked embarrassed and stuff. And she was like, I don't know what I want in life. I don't know if I want to pursue a boyfriend right now. And I then wanted to kind of apologize to her for embarrassing her. But then I found out that she started dating a guy she met on that workshop. I was the one who confessed my feelings to her, and she literally chose someone else. And I felt like that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And so then, because my guy friend, the one who kept telling me, she's not interested, if she truly was, she would make time for you. He had like a good, he was good friends or had some kind of relationship with a girl, like a Russian girl. So she was not Swedish, so she was not an introvert, okay? So I felt like she would probably appreciate something in me, but I was not necessarily like interested in her. So I then asked the question. I was like, look, I'm not trying to hit on you, but I need some constructive criticism because I want to become a better person. So if I were to hypothetically ask you out on a date, would you have said, yeah, would you be interested or not? And if not, what would be the problem with me and what do I have to work on? And she then told me pretty bluntly, you're too serious, as in you take yourself too seriously. She basically said that I don't smile, I don't make jokes and stuff, that I'm always like very serious and stone-faced, and women can't really loosen up if the guy isn't loosen up first. And then I told her, it goes against the amazing character that I so much adore and love. To smile, make jokes, and stuff like that. I am not gonna change who I am for a girl, because I am not desperate. It's like, Focus on yourself, brah! Don't be distracted by girls! And then she was like, oh, never mind what I said. Just be yourself. Someone will accept you for who you are. Not me, but someone else. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna be myself. Except no one seemed to accept me for who I am. And someone else told me the same old advice. Focus on yourself and girls will come as a bonus. And so that's what I did. I realized that what I truly wanted in life was not necessarily to have a girlfriend. What I truly wanted was, I wanted to kind of like get the confirmation that the girls that rejected me in high school and now and stuff, that they were in the wrong, not me. That they did not realize how amazing I am, but that I am still an amazing, attractive, and entertaining person. And I realized that a problem that I had was that I constantly needed validation from girls in order to feel amazing and attractive. And I realized that a guy who constantly wants validation from girls is not considered attractive. And so I was like, how can I feel attractive, masculine, entertaining without needing validation from girls? And so I started this YouTube channel. I was like, I'm gonna be my awesome, amazing self, this character that I love, on the internet. And people will love me. Maybe I don't get a girlfriend, but that's okay. I'm gonna make a successful YouTube channel and make money off of that. But instead, my videos performed very poorly. And pretty much the only people that watched my videos, at least the majority of them, left hateful comments, and a lot of them criticized like the way I look, the way I talk, the way I sound. And this was new for me, because I need to keep in mind, I used to be the cool kid in high school. So for me to all of a sudden get like an overwhelmingly majority of people hating on me on the internet, it turned my whole world upside down. It was something I have never experienced before, and I guess it had an effect on my mental health. I started having this whole like feeling like everything I knew was a lie. I was like, is this what girls think of me? Is this why girls are rejecting me? Was I truly the cool kid in high school, or were all the guys that were saying, oh, you're so cool, shit talking me behind my back? It really messed with me. And eventually I started then loathing myself, calling myself a disgusting spurg and stuff. But then I realized the most important thing is to try to be a good person. At least try to make others happy without expecting anything in return. Because then if someone doesn't like you, then it's not your fault. Then it's their problem, and you at least tried your best to be a good person. But if you don't try to be a good person, then maybe there is a problem with you. Then other people have a valid reason to dislike you. And how do you become a good person? Well, by doing all of the things that scientifically are proven to make other people feel good. Smiling, making jokes, being humble. All those things that went against my character. So basically I could not be myself. And I was like, I don't want to change myself. I want people to like me for who I am. And so I made like a workaround around it. I'm not gonna change who I am. I'm gonna pretend to be someone else if it can make other people feel good about themselves. I don't smile, it goes against my character, but I can pretend to smile if that can make other people feel good about themselves. My character is not humble, but I can pretend being humble because it makes other people happy. And this was basically my New Year's resolution. I'm gonna pretend to do a bunch of stuff and see if it can truly make other people happy. Because then if people dislike me, I no longer have this accountability on my shoulders that it's my fault people dislike me. It's my fault girls are rejecting me and stuff. And so I was like, I'm gonna be a good person. And I discovered that people, not only were people not being so, girls especially, were not being as cold towards me as previously. They started being like more like lukewarm. They started laughing and smiling when being together with me, like when being in my presence, I mean. But I also realized that I put a smile on other people's faces, and it kind of felt good. Like I felt like this can be my purpose. What I truly wanted previously in life was to feel as attractive and masculine as possible because it made me feel good. And it not would make me feel like, yeah, all the girls that rejected me were in the wrong. But now I found like a new purpose in life to make other people happy. And because of that, I am not desperate anymore. And this Russian girl was wrong. Sometimes you cannot be yourself. I started pretending to be someone else, and it made other people feel good about themselves. Sure, I am currently like putting on a mask when I talk to other people, but it makes them feel good. So it's a questionable act that leads to a positive result, which is way better than like a positive intention that leads to a bad result. Like think of the movie Cuties. It had good intentions, tried to talk about against like children exposing themselves, but the way the movie tried conveying that was that actually hiring underage children twerking. It tried to talk against like minors being sexualized by sexualizing minors. So I feel like good actions with not the best intentions are way better than not so good actions with good intentions. Or good results with not so good intentions are way better than not so good results with good intentions. That's what I was trying to say. And at the moment I am still single, but I feel like I'm probably not gonna be single for long. I suddenly feel like I have options. And I know this sounds crazy because I always think I have options. I always used to think that I was like this super attractive Adonis, like Giga Chad, every woman's dream, and so I always thought I have options. But this time I feel like I have more of a valid reason to think that, because I am capable of genuinely making other people feel happy. And something that I have discovered was that if you want other people to like you, you should focus on making their life good. I believe that the reason why I was being so brutally rejected previously was because I was focusing way too much on myself. I was focusing too much on like appearing to be such a bad boy. I was like, look at me, I am such a bad boy, I am so attractive. While neglecting like how I made the other person feel. And so this is what I realized. And this is why I feel like I finally am able to to vibe with people better than before. This includes the Swedish introverted girls, kind of. And I currently started for the first time in like forever to have girlfriends. Not girlfriends, girlfriends. Girls that I am friends with. However, I want to clarify, I am not friends with this girl just because I want, like specifically because I want to sleep with them, and if they have a boyfriend, if they ever tell me that they have a boyfriend or are not interested, then I will leave them and never speak to them again. Like, I see a lot of value in having simple friendships with girls. I don't care about what Andrew Tate says, how he says that like men should only be with women if they want to sleep with them, and otherwise there is no point to spending time with women. I feel like there is a privilege of being friends with women. Let's start with the most obvious one. They can introduce you to their friends. And if you don't get together, you don't build relationships with those girls, you might with their friends. That's how like meeting your girlfriend or boyfriend through mutual friends basically works. But also, I feel like those girls can genuinely give me constructive criticism. Maybe they know why girls are rejecting me, and they can give me constructive criticism. Usually you don't get constructive criticism from people who aren't already like close friends with you, because a lot of people don't know how you will react if they tell you like the cold, harsh truth unless they already know you. And a lot of like girls that I am friends with have basically told me, and people I am currently spending a lot of time with, they tell me, oh yeah, when I first met you, you were kind of like tensed up and stuff, but now you have started to be more open, more loving, and stuff like that. And so I feel like I have made so much progress. But maybe I feel like I am finally ready for a relationship. But maybe I am stupid. If you are a girl watching this video, maybe you can tell me like in the comments like, no, you are still really unattractive, here is why, here is what you can work on, to kind of humble me down. I personally feel like I'm finally ready, like I'm finally at peace with myself, I am finally ready to start a healthy relationship. But maybe I am stupid for thinking that, and if I am, then it would be good. It would be really good for me to receive some constructive criticism from a girl in the comment section. That's basically all I had to say.